Hey everyone, my name is Hallie, and if you want to see me stumble through building this Brazilian cherry golf ball display cabinet, stick around. All right, I skipped ahead a few steps. I'll show you what I did. I was able to cut the dado slots in the side walls and miter the top and the bottom so that I can finally assemble. I have this table saw. It's kind of a piece of crap. It's a super old table saw, and I kind of rigged up a fence and everything. So I didn't really trust the straightness to do these dado slots. So I actually bought a new table saw so that I could make these cuts. So let me show you what I got. It's an old Ryobi BT3000. So when I said new, I meant new to me, not necessarily brand new, but it does have a really cool feature. It's this sliding miter table attachment thing. So you can adjust the fence and you can do, you know, straight cuts, or I was able to put it at 45 and do the 45 cuts. It also has a reliable fence. Like I said, my other one is a piece of crap, but everything worked out great and I'm super happy with the purchase. So now all I need to do is clean up these slots. I didn't really have a dado stack in there, and so I just had to chip away at it with the thin blade that's on there. So I got everything pretty good and lined up. There's some tightness on some of them, and then some of them are kind of loose. So I'll have to hide those mistakes later. All right, so I ran the router through here just so I can get mostly clean. If I tried to do the whole thing with like a hand chisel, I would probably screw up the uniformity of the slots. Probably some deeper, some not as deep. So running it through with the router, and now I just have a tiny little sliver to clean up. So I don't really have any good chisels. I just have these crappy little Harbor Freight carving chisels, but I did sharpen the hell out of it. So let's see if it helps out at all. Kind of found a workaround. I mean, it works, right? All right, found a better way. So use the square here and then use it as a router fence, and then made sure I got super close to the edge of the inside of the slot, and then just zip zap it right through, and that cleaned it up pretty damn good. So I think I'm going to be very, very, very careful and do that with the rest of them, and then should be good. Oh yeah, that came out way cleaner. Still got a little on that one, but I think that's pretty acceptable. So originally I left these center shells a little long because I wasn't sure how deep the slots were going to be if I was going to make a mistake. So I left them extra long. Now that I have the slots established, I'm going to trim off a little bit extra. See, there's my line. So I'm going to go get set up on the table saw with a stop block, and then I can, where'd they, batch out all of them. I'm going to do this a little unorthodox. I'm going to glue on the sides first, and I'm not going to do the top and the bottom just yet because I want to make sure that the sides go in, and then I'll cut these to fit just in case I make another mistake. I don't want to screw it up just yet. So I'm going to make sure this is square, clamp it up, and I'm going to use this Boss Dog brown glue just to help fill any gaps that I probably already made. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. All right, this is my attempt at keeping things square. I clamped down a square to the table, and then I clamped this basically in the corner and up on the edge, and then I clamped these together. So hopefully that'll get me close enough. It's a poor man's assembly table thingy. All right, now it's time to glue up after I got the top and the bottom as close as I could get them. The whole frame kind of twisted when I had the first initial glue up, so things are a little wonky. So I need to make sure this glue up is precise as possible, or just cram it back all together. And I found these 3D print files online for a wraparound ratchet strap kind of clamp. So I'm going to give that a shot. So here goes nothing. I hate this. Just use regular clamps. All right. I can live with that. That's acceptable. It's annoying, but acceptable. All right, now I'm working on the face frame. It's like the door that's going to open up for the cabinet. I went ahead and ripped a couple strips for the door frame. It's a 1 inch wide. It's a little wider, I would say twice as wide as the thickness of the walls. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out a little rabbet for the plexiglass window that's going to go in there. You might have seen me wearing these giant headphones on my head when I'm working outside. I want to tell you a little bit about them. I've been looking for some good hearing protection that I can use around the shop that's Bluetooth enabled so I can listen to my music, but at the same time, drown out that super loud shop noise from all my tools. And guess what? ProHear reached out to me the other day and sent me their EM037BT hearing protection. That's what I'm wearing now. What I normally use are my AirPods, but sometimes the high pitch of some of my tools, they overpower the noise cancellation. So I knew I needed something a little bit more. These bad boys, these are Bluetooth enabled, they're USB-C charging, and they're so comfortable. I've been wearing them around the shop for about a month now, and sometimes I forget I have them on. Actually, sometimes I just stick them on and use them as regular old headphones instead of hearing protection, like when I'm working in the yard or when I'm doing workouts in the gym or when I'm just doing computer work. And ProHear also gave me the gel ear cup upgrade kit for my headphones. They're actually super, super comfortable, even more so than the regular headphones. I actually was wearing them about 3 hours the other day and they weren't causing any pain at all. So I definitely recommend you picking up a pair. Check the description for a discount code and a link to the product. Now back to the video. All right, some of them came out pretty clean. Got a little bit of a lip in there, but some of them didn't come out at all. I'm thinking that my plate here is warped, so it's not in line with the tabletop, the front and the back. So I'm thinking since it's just little thin sheet metal, it's probably dipped over time. I mean, this thing is like, 35 years old or whatever, so. Okay, I went ahead and mitered all the corners here. I'm just gonna lay it out and really make sure this is straight. Unfortunately, this is a little skewed, so I'm hoping to cover up my mistakes with this and make this perfectly straight so when it's hanging on a wall, it looks dead balls 90. So that way, no one will ever know. And you better not say anything. Okay, I went ahead and taped up the corners, but now I'm really gonna make sure it's accurate and clamp it down with a straight edge. All right, so clamped up, straight as hell, straight as hell. Now that the face frame is glued up, I wanted to go ahead and glue in these little strips. If you remember, these are the actual golf ball holders. They go in here. So I already glued a couple of them in. I'm just gonna throw in the other two real quick. So the edge of the frame it's kind of rough. I should have probably faced it off beforehand. And I was trying to figure out what's the best way to flatten it out. Then I realized, oh yeah, I have a hand plane. Let me give that a shot. Well, got a little too ambitious with the thing. Busted the glue joint on it. Damn it. All right, let me glue this back up. Also chipped out the end. Damn it. I don't like that the corners, these miters are only glued together and not fastened. I found some staples that I can put in the corners. I don't really like that either. So what I'm going to attempt to do is shave down a thickness, the thickness of this board here, shave it down, and then glue in this board as like almost like a spline. I thought about doing splines here. I'm not really set up for splines. I would have to build a spline jig for my table saw. I don't really want to do that because I just don't feel like it. So I'm going to go ahead and take my router. I'm going to route out this corner halfway down and then glue in this half lap spline, I'm going to call it. That works a lot better. I had to deepen the grooves on the door frame side so that they sit a little deeper. The screw heads were hitting each other and they're preventing a nice close. So that's awesome for me. Recently, I got a 3D printer and I've been finding all kinds of cool prints online. This is one of them. It's a 3D printed keyhole insert. All you need to do is drill an appropriate size hole so it'll sit in there flush and then just screw it in. And then you got a keyhole hanger for your wall cabinet. I have a few different finishes that I want to test out. So this one's just what I put on my cutting board. So I figured the oil would just look nice, you know. Then I have this Osmo Poly-X oil. Here's just like a wood conditioning polish, and then of course spray poly. And I put them on, and I'm really liking this spray poly or this Osmo oil. And I think the Osmo gives a nice little sheen to it and makes it look a little more polished. So that's what we're going with. All right, the finish is cured, and I'm beyond happy with the way it turned out. The color is just so rich. It's super, super rich. Added a little handle that still needs some finish, and I did screw it on so that the metal from the screw heads will hit these magnets. So I embedded a few rare earth magnets inside the frame here, and it's just a little gentle close. So you just barely have to open it. I didn't want it to be super strong, so they're trying to rip it off the wall, you know, and it'll shake around. So just a little tug, and you're good to go. That was dumb. Just a little tug, and you're good. So the only thing left now is to put in the plexiglass window. All right, I put the plexiglass in here. I did have this taped off because what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the glass in, and I'm going to silicone the insides like you would a window, like an old window pane. Hopefully that works. I'm not sure if it's going to or not, but that's all I got. On that, I'm just going to let it cure overnight, and then I'll do the top and the bottom, and then that'll be a wrap. All right, have nice clean lines. Hopefully that looks good when it's closed. You probably won't be able to see anything. Maybe I should have gone with some black caulking or some clear silicone, but that's what I have, and I think it looks good. Good enough. All right, and here it is. It's the final product. It's got the plexiglass in here. It has a nice little handle. It opens up. I've got to hold it because it'll fall forwards. Here we go. A couple of golf balls. I didn't have a poker chip, so I printed one out, and it goes in the slot like that. And there you go. And yeah, that's it. I would say that's a happy ending.